Good evening. It is March 6th. It is late evening, and my name is Bianca. And I wanted to make another podcast about the trafficking criminal activities that are going on at the Anna Louise, located in Cincinnati, Ohio, and how it is correlated to the insurance, inheritance theft, forgery, attempted murder, child rape and of my child from the Gamble Nippert YMCA, and how there's a prostitution cartel ring of employees at the Gamble Nippert YMCA, and how they work through uh, property management and landlords, such as my property director and manager, Gordon and Beth. Um, Currently, this is the third apartment I've stayed in, and the prostitution cartel has traveled its trafficking to my location. And I want to talk about how these property owners and managers, such as Beth and Gordon, happen to get tied up into these dealings, and what a lot of these property managers do to try to alleviate the problem. Well, for starters, a lot of females are unsuspecting that they're being videotaped in their home. So I think a lot of property managers, such as Beth and Gordon, they're not the only ones. There are several throughout the country that participate in human trafficking, hotels, rental properties, all sorts of places, but we're talking about residential property, and specifically women's battered sheltering and nonprofit organizations such as the Anna Louise Inn. So we're talking specifically about this particular location. And what happens is people like Beth and Gordon, they hear of a lucrative money opportunity, and they look at the target that they're being described to get paid for, and they're thinking that the target will never find out that the maintenance man has installed cameras. They've got the scam going, and they think that the target will be arrested or murdered before anyone finds out. But I was fortunate because of the angels of God and God Himself, that I was fortunate, and maybe perhaps a few other women, of course, were able to be intuitive to see that something wasn't right in their personal living environment, and also in their surrounding neighborhood. And I definitely encourage other young ladies, or not just young, but because I'm not a young lady myself, I'm a very mature aged woman, and so this doesn't just happen to young ladies; it also happens to middle aged ladies as well. Um, but I make these podcasts for you to be aware of your neighborhood, of your personal, even dwelling space. And I want to go into a little depth. I don't like to make these videos too long, but I want to go into a little bit of a depth of how these property managers, such as Beth and Gordon, how they get tied into these deals, and how neighbors, so it's not just the employees of a property management, but how cartels also reel in the neighbors to operate their prostitution pens, such as at the and Louisiana. So, like I said, most of the time, these property owners, such as Beth and Gordon, they take these deals thinking that the female will never become aware of it. But in cases like with me, I am aware of what's going on. I am aware of my surroundings. What property owners end up doing, such as Beth and Gordon, is they rush against time to try to get the female victim either arrested or murdered. Okay, so like at the Anna Louise, for example, the Cincinnati cartel and the Gamble Nippert YMCA employees also work with the Cincinnati police, and the Cincinnati police are working with a couple of the judges to operate this prostitution ring, and to work with Anna Louise to get women like me arrested on false charges so that their crime ring can stay hidden. And the rape of my daughter, my 9 year old daughter, it happened with a group of men. She was sold by a lifeguard named Zach and Glenda Harris. Amongst several other community members at the Gamble Nippert YMCA. They sell children online and then physically. They pay landlords to have physical access, illegal keys perhaps being made. So these landlords, such as Beth and Gordon, even some prior landlords, they are selling keys to strangers. They're doing all sorts of weird illegal things that they shouldn't be doing. Not only are they doing things like that, so they're allowing illegal access somehow. I'm not sure how they're doing it. So I'm not sure if they're renting out keys that they shouldn't be giving out, not renting out, but selling keys to the female victims' apartments. I know for sure they're participating in violating personal privacy rights of tenants because they enter into the apartment for non-emergency reasons, for reasons for the cartel. So those are all the things that they do. Also, the neighbors in Anna Louise Inn, they also participate in the harassment and the stalking. So like I said, if you notice a lot of noise specifically directed at your apartment, there may be cameras in your home. If you notice every room that you go into, the noise follows you and that you're not mentally ill. Like, for example, at the Anna Louise Inn, the cartel pays my upstairs neighbor to watch me on inner cameras. So when I go to the bathroom, she stumps in the bathroom. When I go to bed, she stumps directly on over my head. And this is not just random noise that you hear in a multi-unit building. This is specific harassment noise that follows you every area in your home. Because it's like, well, how come if I'm in my own apartment, how could this person be stumping directly where I'm at the second I'm stepping? That's one of the key factors, that someone may have cameras in your home, because that's part of their framing. So they have different methods that the landlord works with the cartel to frame the victim. So they do a lot of noise pollution. The Anna Louise women, they have it on clockwork. When I go next to my door, they in my inner house, they come out and they start screaming and yelling. And they do that on clockwork. They're getting paid by the cartel to watch me on camera. So every time I go near my door, here comes a whole bunch of banging and screaming and slamming doors. And they're doing that systemically throughout the day, all day, and they're getting paid by this cartel. A lot of Anna Louise neighbors are getting paid to do this for intimidation purposes. Not only that, the cartel pays Anna Louise neighbors to try to start a physical fight. So Beth and Gordon are getting paid to allow their neighbors to try to start physical altercations with me. Why? Because Beth and Gordon want me off their property. Why? Because they have illegal surveillance in my home and they know that they're prostituting me and they don't want to get caught for it. And a lot of landlords, they don't want to get caught for it, the neighbors. So that's a triangulation financial method that the cartel uses to silence the victim. So the YMCA, Glenda Harris, Zach is a lifeguard, Bridget Werner Behrman, they stole my identity. They worked with judges and lawyers and police in the county and some type of psychiatrist to come up with some false power of attorney to steal some money I had. They signed my check and said I was crazy. They said I needed some type of guardian, and they put some cameras in my home. They justified a reason by lying to their cop friends, because Glenda Harris and Bridget and Zach, they have a lot of Cincinnati police friends, okay? So they made up some type of lie to justify surveillancing me, to put me on black market. And so what they did was they sold my daughter and they tried to kill me and my child to get away with the money that they stole from my family. And so what these people do is they work with people like at the Anna Louise Inn to try to frame women that they've robbed and stolen from, because these people, they don't want to pay for their own crimes. They want the victim to pay for the identity theft. They want the victim to pay for all of their crimes. And what happens is when these property owners such as Beth and Gordon, once they make these deals, and along with the neighbors that go along with the deal, they're in a press for time to try to frame the victim as well, because they don't want it on their property. They wanted to make a quick buck or a quick dollar, but they don't want the consequences from it. So, like I said, those are the methods. Those are a few of the methods that they use to try to frame victims, fights, noises, false illegal evictions. They have people come at you to start arguments. All these are people that are paid to try to frame the victim. They already have Cincinnati police on standby that already understand and know the covert operation of the prostitution ring. They know exactly who's on the list. They know exactly who they're prostituting. So as soon as, a property manager like Beth and Gordon gets a call, as soon as a property manager such as Beth or Gordon make a call to the Cincinnati police and them are already in cahoots to arrest the victim without a question, okay, and to believe the perpetrator that is working for the cartel, that actually perpetrated, actually instigated or provoked the fight or argument. So all these things are happening, and all these things are, criminal activities, very much so, and it's definitely happening at the Anna Louise Inn, and it's not just happening at the Anna Louise Inn, it's happening at several properties throughout Cincinnati, Ohio, and throughout America. And so I make these videos in hopes to inform and make other women aware and empowered as far as the decisions they make, and to be aware of their surroundings. I didn't want to make this video too long, and it's been a pleasure talking to you all. I'm going to cut this short, and take care, and God bless.